All right, so you're just asking about the swing path and the club face and stuff, and so my coach, he was the #1 teacher in the state of New Jersey, and his inspiration was Ben Hogan. He actually was on the Ben Hogan staff, and he used to go to Texas and have dinner with Ben Hogan, the guy who taught me. And he said one time he was there in Texas at the Ben Hogan annual dinner, and you know, he saw Mr. Hogan get up to go to the bathroom, so he followed him. Sounds weird, but he actually waited for him to finish the restroom, and then he was there to ask him a question. He said, "Hey, Mr. Hogan, do you mind if I ask you a question?" And Mr. Hogan was there at the time, and he had a club as a cane, supposedly, and he said, "Sure, sure, anything. It's the Hogan dinner, whatever." And then my coach said, he had his book, and he said, "Is this everything that I need to know in your book?" And Mr. Hogan said, "Well, not exactly." He said, he flipped his cane around, and he said, "If I want to hit a shot that's going to fade to the right, I'm going to bring it back and let it rotate open. If I want to hit a shot that goes straight, I'm going to bring it back square like my spine. If I want to hit a shot that draws, I'm going to bring it back hooded." And so he basically would take the club away how he intended to use it through the ball,
instead of worrying about supinating.
to try to curve it different ways and things, right? Now, what I find is that works well for me with a fade, but when I'm trying to work a draw, I like to feel a little bit of supination in there. I find that if I just do this going back, for me, that doesn't feel like I can get as much power on it. But anyway, what I was going to show you here is if I'm trying to hit a fade, I'm going to aim left, and then I'm not going to really supinate, and then that ball will start left, and the face will be open, and it's a fade, right? See how the path went left and the face is open? Now it's a big fade, right? I could have faded it less, but I just wanted to make my point. And then if I want to hit a shot that's going to draw, what am I going to do differently? I'm going to aim to the right, right? I'm going to swing to the right, but then what am I going to do?
Supinate.
Make sure that face is closed, right? Because that's going to do what to my ball?
Curl it over.
Curve it the other way, right? So if I want to hit a shot that's going to start out to the right and curve back, right, around. So now look, that one I did the opposite big time, right? Now obviously, there's everything in between what I just did there, right? And then there's, of course, I could be trying to hit it straight, which would mean that I'm doing less of both, if you will. Now, which shot should you play? Well, it kind of depends on the hole, right? Is it a hole that is a dogleg left? Is there out of bounds on the left? Maybe the out of bounds on the left, some pros say it's best to try to curve the ball away from trouble. So if there's trouble on the left, you don't want to be drawing it. You'd rather fade it. That's moving away from the trouble. If there's trouble on the right, you'd rather draw it because you don't want the ball moving toward the trouble. Now, if there's trouble on both sides, well, then maybe you have to try to play it straighter. The point of my story, though, is how we, as better players, will try to manipulate ball flight depending on what we want. So in the end, golf becomes like the hole that we're looking at is my canvas, and I'm trying to play a shot a certain way. I generally try to play it pretty straight. A lot of the pros on tour, they try to play it pretty straight. With today's equipment, trying to play it straighter is easier. I did have a round one time, though, at Terrace Creek on the back nine, where I shot a 30, which was 6 under par for 9 holes. And I faded all my long clubs, and I hit draws with everything lower than 8 iron, all my short clubs. And the reason is because you can talk to a fade, but a hook won't listen. So it's bad to hit a driver low left, where a high right driver you can play.
Yeah.
So I played my long clubs fading and my short clubs drawing. You have to be the decider of what you're going to do. Ultimately, most of my students come to me and they want to hit it straight, so I try to engineer things for them to be pretty straight, or with a slight draw, or like the data from TrackMan says, slightly from the inside out with the face slightly closed. But to your point, you said sometimes you like taking it back how it is and leaving it that way. Sure, you could try to do that, and maybe that goes a little straighter, or maybe that's like a little bit of a baby fade. That could be potentially a baby fade if you're not doing as much. Well, that was pretty straight. If you're not doing as much with the fades, right? So anyway, I hope that helps you with understanding how to control the ball flight a little bit better.